happening. Oh, there we are.
Hello. Welcome. Virginia and I are here from the Healing Soul School, and we are super delighted to have back with us Kendra Toothill, who is here to talk to us about healing from our scars. And we found this so fascinating, and we've just kind of, we've kept in contact with Kendra, and we just want to share and talk about her and her programs and what she has to offer. This is all about reawakening your body by working your scars. Kendra, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be back.
Right on. Good. So tell us about yourself and how you came to helping people with their scars.
Sure. So as you have just said, my name is Kendra Toothill, and I am a holistic women's health therapist. And I have a really unique approach to working with your body and working with your mind. And so my main work is helping women reconnect with their body by working their scars. So right now, many men and women have scars on their body, but we may not recognize the importance or the value of working with our scars. We may not have connected the dots as to why scars are important, and connecting that with all of the physical ailments, the emotional stuff, the energetic depletion, all the other things that we're experiencing on the day-to-day. So I help people, women in particular, kind of connect those dots to really recognizing that very commonly, a lot of the stuff that we're experiencing can be traced back to an origin, which is our scars, which is surgeries or accidents that have happened in our past.
That's so amazing. I mean, at Healing Soul School, we understand like healing the past and traumas and stuff like that. But this is like so neat to connect to the scar because there not only was there pain at that time, but like some emotional stuff, right? And we know that stuck energy inside of us is going to come out somewhere. It comes out in some kind of ailment. And I love your magic. I think it's so fascinating. What an incredible, unique gift to be able to offer the world. This is so great. Virginia, did you want to add anything in?
Yeah, I know when we spoke during the Conscious Business Showcase, um, when this topic came up, I was thinking, oh, interesting. And what was really interesting was that I didn't put the two and two together, that of course there would be emotions with a scar. And of course they could be trapped in there, or like it just, when you explained it, it was like holy smokes, that just makes so much sense, right? Because in my case in particular, I talked about C-sections. I can't say I even thought about my C-section scar until I was doing your profile stuff and whatever and getting ready for the showcase. And then I was like, oh, I mean, I never even thought about it. Of course, I'm thinking about everybody else, and maybe somebody else is having ailments and maybe their scar or something, But then when we talked about it, and it was like you pointed it out beautifully. What were the emotions behind each delivery where I had that C-section? I was a different person in a different place and in an emotional state in a different way for each one. So it was just like, wow, I am so intrigued with this and how it connects to different ailments in the body. And it's just, Christine and I both just latched onto this because it was like, wow, this just is so interesting. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. I know, Christine, you had some scars. Maybe I did a lot of the talking at the last time. So maybe you want to talk about, and Kendra can give some insight into
Awesome.
how that works. But yeah, it's beautiful. So thank you. Thanks for being back with us.
Yeah,
So good. And thank you for that. What's been coming through for me the last few weeks is I've been getting downloads of like, there's so much sexual or so much trauma, or not even trauma, I don't use that word. We have so many things that we're holding: shame, judgment, fear in our sexual organs, whether you're a man or a woman, and to really help people to release those. That's, something that's special, to my heart. And that is so connected to a lot of the things that happen to us, whether they're scars, anything on the womb space, definitely. But just before I talk about, I'm going to mention mine just so that if anyone else watching, you can relate. is where in the body are you holding on to any shame or judgment or fear even? And think about, even if you fell, like I fell up the stairs in high school, and that has come through since we've been having our discussions of scars and what we're going to be talking about. And I fell up the stairs, and I was so hard on myself because I was embarrassed. It was, classes were changing. And I know that I was criticizing myself so much, like, you're an idiot. How do you fall upstairs? And I was at a Catholic high school, so I had a skirt on. I always wore shorts, but like still, it was just like not an opportune time for a woman to fall upstairs. And the embarrassment and not wanting to stand out, all those things that has been trapped in my body, right? And just being able to release, not even like, I mean, bigger ones I've had a hysterectomy, and I'm not cut, like the C-section, I'm cut the other way. So, up to down, like above my belly button down to the pelvic bone. And so even being in a romantic connection or relationship, there's always that idea of like, oh, are they going to ask me? Aren't they? It's now in the back of my mind, but that trauma is still there. And even around the whole experience with the doctor, like, he was funny, and we could banter back and forth. But when I went after my operation, he said, thank God I retired that day. I was his last surgery. He's like, thank God I retired that day. You were a mess. And we laughed or whatever, but afterwards I'm like, what a thing to say, to someone. I had fibroids, which now I understand is the anger, right? And holding it in. And it's like I was 5 months pregnant with fibroids. So there was a lot of emotion, even in that was held there. I didn't have my own kids. There's another tie there, all of that. And I'm so excited for what we're going to learn from you, because I know, like, I already feel like I'm going to take off a huge, big backpack of weight that I've been carrying that I didn't even know that I was carrying emotionally. And then the other one, which was even bigger for me emotionally, was my breast reduction. And I have, I've been single for a long time after my divorce, and they were in a way like currency on the street, just to be a little bit of, funny here. So after the surgery, and I'm looking, and I was like aghast. I'm like, what did I do to myself? Like, I felt like a kindergarten had come in and created a craft, and that's what my breasts were looking like. And I was like, oh man. And I went into this really heavy space of self-criticism and what did I do, and depression. And I was staying with a beautiful friend at the time, and she was trying to console me, and I'm trying to be nice about it and still positive, but inside I'm like, holy crap, like, what did I do? And now 2 years forward, I'm really glad that I did it. And still, even when I look in the mirror, I'm learning how to embrace my body. Oh, hey, there you are, right? And learning how to love myself through that. And it's getting better, definitely. But like, those are some major things that I've had, done as far as work, and just the emotions that the stories I can say right now, but I know that it's even deeper, on another level, that I know that you'll be able to help shine some light. So I'm super excited. And if anyone's watching and you hold any even poor self body image, this will be, a really good conversation to have, because it's learning how to love ourselves just the way we are, right? So if you want to then, Kendra, what do you think about, what Virginia and I have shared today and your insights?
Yeah, thank you. While both of you were talking, I put all these little notes just in front of me, because there's so much goodness in what each of you shared there. So I think I'll maybe start with the importance of working with our stuck kind of emotional energy, since you guys have both really landed on that. And the first thing I think that's really important, and why I love working with women, is I think, to what Virginia was talking about, once you describe this quite simply, women are like, oh yeah, I get that. Like, there's a natural inclination that women can go like, yeah, duh, that totally makes sense. I can see that. So in just that simple way, it's incredible to work with women who have scars. Not to say that men can't, obviously they're very able and capable as well, but there's this natural kind of intuitive sense that women carry with them, or they can really connect the dots. And that really is such an empowering piece, because when you can understand the day-to-day stuff that you're experiencing, like say you have chronic pain that has an unknown cause, and you have seasonal allergies, and you have all of these, yeah, my fingers are going, because there's a cause for everything. It's just that it's very likely that someone hasn't sat down with you and listened and given you attention and asked you the right questions. So when I work one-to-one and in my group programs, I always just say that you have the answers inside. Like, you have the answers, you're speaking them, but there's so much noise around what I should do and what's important and what's not. We get really confused and flustered. So the goodness and how I work with women is really helping them understand, like, the scars hold so much. And so to that emotional energy piece, this is probably the most transformational method that I've come across to directly access that stuck emotional energy. So I'm sure your community is familiar and comfortable doing different types of energetic practices, whether it's like Reiki or meditations or inner child work. Like, there's so much stuff, which is incredible. And this really gets at that energy and emotion in a different way, because quite literally it's stuck up and bound and like knotted inside the scar tissue. And one principle that I share when I'm educating people about scars is that wherever we have a scar on our body, wherever it is we're not putting any input into it, meaning we're avoiding moving it. We're like not putting stretch or any kind of like tension or any kind of activity into it. It's very, very common that wherever you have a scar on your abdomen, you're not breathing there. So in every single way, you kind of dissociate and pull away from yourself. And that's what we're really talking about when we're talking about reawakening our body. It's so important to inhabit every little nook and cranny. So if you have done different types of transformational work from like either like a mental mindset, energetic capacity, this really like nails it fully to get everything else out there. Everything else of that kind of emotional strain and tension gets resolved because you start working with the scar directly. And the emotional energy, like Virginia was talking about, has 3 different kind of time frames that you want to think about. There's a before the incident, before the C-section or the breast reduction. What was going on in your life? Just inner dialogue. What was your finances? Like, where was there strain and tension in your relationships, finances, all the, the dynamics of your life there. There's an energetic signature. And then there's something that happens when you're, going through surgery or the accident happens or whatever goes on. There's always fear involved. And like Christine was talking about, it's very common that when you're in that feared, stressed out place, first of all, like biologically, we're just, in stress, fight or flight. So we're not really engaging our prefrontal cortex. And we have this kind of veil where we can feel like medical staff or even people that are taking care of us, like our loved ones, that they're not treating us correctly. Something's amiss there. And you feel, lots of women will say they feel manhandled or they felt disrespected. Their voice wasn't heard. Like they didn't want this surgery or this protocol, or they didn't, want that to go down in that certain way. This is so common. And it's situational, but it's also because we're freaked out. We're in the middle of surgery. There's always a fear response. So that gets knotted in there as well. And then there's the after. So the after phase is huge. It's however long it's been since the surgery. So it could be, a month, or it could be decades and decades. And again, another energetic quality or signature that is needing to be transformed. And we carry all of this in a nice little bundle in the scar tissue itself. And we can unconsciously or consciously kind of play out flavors of that throughout our life. Like both of you were discussing, just feeling not comfortable in your skin. It seems kind of like a smallish thing, like, okay, I don't have a lot of confidence, or I don't feel good about myself. I got to change my wardrobe. I can't wear that anymore. I'm going to start wearing this. But actually, it's it's super deep, and it challenges you on a very fundamental level. Like we're talking about, you want to become who you most naturally are. So this is like a revealing process. Like you're getting the gunk and junk that's stuck in the physical scar out. It needs to be resolved. So there's a bunch of different body methods that I teach. There's body practices, 6 different types. And this is really to reawaken that body, your body, from a physical standpoint, but also just as important, sometimes more important, from that energetic, emotional standpoint.
That's so beautiful. And even, what came to mind when you were talking was weight gain. Women or men who have issues with weight, this I feel can also help to open that up too, because from an energetic place, weight is protection. So what are you protecting yourself from, right? As with the weight gain. But when you can actually go in, see and clear those emotional ties to the scars, then I feel even some of the weight can come off as well, that emotional and energetic weight, which is another bonus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing things can happen. So common things that I call them complaints, but they're common issues that we're facing is all around that sort of thing, like weight. So common for women to say they want to lose that magical 10-15 pounds and then they'll feel like themselves again. That's a really like common weight number. There's like that magical like 10 pound. And then there's like chronic pain. So if you have, pain in your joints, if you have an abdominal surgery, very common to have low back pain, very common to have like tight hips that are causing other types of disruption, like knee problems and anything in your body that you're like, I don't know why this started. I don't have an answer. It can be traced back to your scars. So even things that are away from the scar site, like a C-section, hysterectomy, abdominal scarring, organ removal, you may have a lot of chronic congestion, like face congestion, sinus stuff, headaches, migraines, tension headaches, seasonal allergies. I've worked with people's scars on their head and also scars in their abdomen, and their seasonal allergies just go away because that scar is creating I won't go into like crazy amounts of detail, but there's something that happens with the scar tissue that restricts just this natural movement of everything local, but also systemic. So when we're doing the physical scar work, we're releasing that energy, like the emotion that's stuck in, but we are quite literally changing our structure. We're like recalibrating our physical body. We're working on our circulation, our lymphatic, which is also called our immune system. We're working on our whole musculoskeletal system, which is what we usually feel as pain. We're talking about joints, obviously muscle, tendon, fascia, ligament, joint cap. We're talking like all the stuff, cerebral spinal fluid, which is intricately related to your nervous system, which is obviously your difference between fight and flight. So there's this really amazing thing that happens when you work through all of this stuff. And because of my background, so I have a therapist background. I'm Canadian and I have an athletic therapy degree. I really heavily lay into understanding like the physicality and the physical body, because when we have that foundation, learning about your physical body, like tangible body, it's right here in front of you. When you kind of get that foundation, your structure of learning, then it opens up the opportunity to engage with the more subtle, like emotion and energy. Because you can't really just like, grab that emotion and be like, I want to work on my resentment. It's hard. Like, how do you do that? But when you have like a structure and like that the resentment is in the scar because of the way that you were treated, and maybe you don't like your body, and there's all these stories. When you understand what you're doing physically, it creates this beautiful map, a roadmap that you start to work through. And that in itself is such an empowering, confidence boosting process. Like when I work with women online now, I'm not actually, touching and manipulating the scar itself. I'm hands off now. And that actually worked so much to my and my clients' advantage, because they're in the driver's seat the whole time. It's not a passive engagement kind of process where you go on your calendar thing and you book your massage and then you lay down and then it's done. It's not to say that massages are bad, they're amazing, but this is a completely different shift. Right. I'm taking control of how I feel. I want to take responsibility for this in a way that feels very holistic and integrated. And I have the reins of my health and well-being the whole way through. And I'm curious and I'm engaging, and I don't feel like I'm compounding shame and guilt, like you were talking about. Like I'm doing the thing. I'm taking control of my life. It's a complete like flip on its head to normal kind of the traditional, more passive process to health, which I was a part of. I was doing the thing and doing the stuff to people's bodies, and it didn't work. It just didn't get the level of healing that I wanted for people. And so I had to change my methods over a decade of work.
Wow. This sounds so powerful. I agree. Sonia, that's what I was thinking too. Thank you for sharing that. It's really, it's so cool because we are taking ownership of our own selves and being our own best healer. And I like that you said that, where it is so easy to go to massage or to some, to a holistic practitioner even, and just lay there and be like, hey, fix me. But
Totally.
by you not being able to touch them is that they have to actually go in and do the work and figure, okay, like I have the scar, what are the other emotions and stuff tied to it? Because only we can feel that, right? We're hearing, are there little downloads or spirits talking to us or something to go even deeper to heal and release that. And I just love that observation that you shared. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important.
Mhm.
And then the other kind of key component when I start working with women is to tap into our combined universal like humanity, to know that like what you're going through right now is not a you thing. It is a you thing, but I feel I'm a human. We're all humans here. So because I'm a human, I feel the whole range and spectrum of emotion, and I can feel pain and I can feel hurt and shame and guilt and all of that. And that doesn't make me less than. Actually, when you're awake and you're orienting yourself and you're feeling those things, you have an opportunity to connect to your humanity instead of, you know, going asleep in life, being a little bit unconscious and going very robotic and pretending that, social media is kind of horrible for this, pretending that everything is like airy fairy and rainbows and unicorns, but it strips us of ourselves, of our humanity. So when we can recognize like, okay, I'm a human, I have my stuff, everyone has their stuff, this doesn't make me less than, this just means that I got to work through this to become more human, to feel more love for myself and let that ripple out so I feel more love for everyone around me, to feel more gratitude and all of these beautiful human emotions. But we can get so stuck in feeling badly about ourselves and feeling badly for the stuff that is, being perpetuated. I want women to know that it doesn't have to be that way. And the more we recognize that we're all having a human experience, it just kind of takes the pressure off. It's like someone's just giving you permission to be like, oh, phew, you feel that too? Oh, good. Huh, I don't feel so crazy. I'm not crazy in the way that I feel. So many women come to me and say, I feel really embarrassed or shy to share this with you. And it's so important to me that I continually remind them that like, I feel those things too, or I have, or I know a bunch of people who've been through something similar to you. You're not alone in how you feel. And when you can tap into that, it gives you that kind of harmonious feeling, and it gives you like a little boost. There's like a nice confidence thing that happens. It feels like, I think I can take this on. Like, I think I can transform and change this. It's
Yeah.
very powerful.
Oh, so good. And even like a lot of that can be, whether someone has had a scar or they're carrying something that's heavy and they don't have anyone to talk to, their husband's going to say, oh, you're fine, or I love you, your body's beautiful, I'm here, all the nice things that they will, but it's very different when you can have a conversation with someone who understands and can actually help you heal and transmute that energy that you're carrying. Because when we hold secrets, it really does affect us in our sacral. And so then it affects everything in your life, what you're creating, not just children, but like in your business or, even creating artwork or something. This is all definitely ties together. It's so beautiful. Sonia's saying, yes, totally agree. The value of making this human experience of acting out our emotions needs to be the norm. Once we know we all have similar responses to experience, is such a weight off of your shoulders. So true. And what, has been coming more and more to me this year is we heal in community. That's what our ancestors used to do, right? The village used to get around. We have a problem. Let's heal it. Let's heal it together, not this, heal it by yourself behind, devices and not really being able to connect and let that out. But thankfully things are changing. So this is just really exciting. Tell us about the 4-week program and, what you'll be sharing with us.
Yeah, sure. So I am really excited about this 4-week program. It's something that I have never offered in this capacity. And when you both came to me and was like, let's figure this out, let's make this happen, it felt really good to just offer this little kind of compact opportunity for women to kind of start kickstarting their potential. So this is a condensed form of what I would teach a one-to-one client. Usually, typically, I work with a one-to-one client for 6 months. So I have my group program, which is a year long. And this gives you like that foundational kind of container, plus all the awesome other women that are going to be with you who are like, I have a scar. I feel the stuff that you're feeling. I can resonate with what you're saying. So just that is amazing. But we get to work. So what is, I think, really unique in the way that I like to teach and the way that I can extend my, I don't even want to call my services, like just the knowledge and the wisdom that I've accumulated, is I don't hold anything back, because all I want at the end of the 4 weeks is for the women to be like, oh my gosh, I understand myself so much better, and I have tools that I can use right now to start changing my situation. And that to me is so important, above and beyond, anything of external kind of materialistic substance. So that is really what you get. You get the education, like understanding your body, understanding how energy and all of this gets really entangled in a very layered, detailed way. Plus you get the a scar technique. Is something that I teach my clients. It was something that I would do with women in the past. So you get a very detailed explanation of that. And plus I'm going to share some kind of integrated ways to make your experience more full. So I come at things from multiple angles. So we'll get like the physical body information, we'll get the energetic, we'll get the emotion, so that you really understand there's like this whole healing process. You can't just do one pillar really well. You got to support yourself and like raise your whole, your whole house up at once. So it's a very integrated, holistic approach. There's lots of time for questions, for sharing experiences, because it's so powerful. Like when you hear Virginia or Christine just talking about their scars and what they feel, it just goes like, oh yeah, I felt that too. It's so powerful. It gives you the inspiration. So there'll be time for that as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so beautiful. So can I name what the 4 weeks are? Is that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So we've got, the first week is the psychology, physiology, and energetics of a wound, plus a 3-part practice. Week 2 is the multifaceted scar awakening with oil technique. Actually, I'll repeat them, or I'll go through. No, week 3 is integrating with movement, and then week 4 is Q&A and sharing. What I would like to do is be better if you explain each of the weeks and kind of the thought behind it.
Sure. So week 1, the physiology and energetics of a wound, plus the 3-part practice. This is understanding how a wound comes to be a scar. This is so important because you'll understand why a scar is so significant physically. You're going to understand why it's impeding on like the structure of your body and how that can challenge you locally, and also extend out to be a systemic thing, meaning like a whole body problem. You could be having, like I said, like things going on close to the scar or far away. So this is super foundational. Once this gets like pictured 3D in your mind, it really sets the whole thing on fire. And then the practice that's in there will help you to really kind of meet yourself, meet your scar for the first time. So it's like gathering yourself a baseline. You want to gather as much information as a starting point so that you know where you're starting. Because once you have a starting point, a path starts to form just on its own. If you're kind of lost and confused and in the dark, how do you even start? I don't even know. What am I even following? What am I like tracing? How do I know when there's significant change or impact? So that's week 1. See, I like give it all away. There's like tons of stuff in each week. Week 2 is when we're going to go really in depth into this technique. So once we understand the foundations, we've met the scar, we understand the physical, energetic, and emotional kind of challenges that are being created because of the scar, I'm going to give you the technique and be very detailed and tell you step by step how it is changing and transforming and what it will do to impact your life. So that will be a really detailed class. That will be your foundation, which you will be doing that every day, which takes like maybe 2 to 5 minutes every day. You'll be doing that for the rest of the course. And then, like I said, it's really important to have movement or have another piece. You shouldn't be doing just one thing all the time. You want to be getting at things from different angles. So as you start to break up the scar tissue, you start to get the emotions going, you start to free up some space in your body and in your mind. We want to be able to integrate that in a meaningful way. And the best way to be integrating that is to do a body movement. And the body movements that I teach help to pump the fluid systems, which is the cerebral spinal fluid, the lymphatic system, and the circulatory system. So you get this moving of all the debris and toxins that was stuck in the scar by doing the movement. So that is another awesome.
That will open up more third eyes by doing that.
It'll be very transformational to kind of put all this together. And like once you have all this, there's going to be ample opportunity to just share and ask questions. So how can I take this forward? What's the next step? Let's share what we've been experiencing. What's holding us back? What's our limitations? And just open it up for, what's next.
This is so awesome. I just love this. And you know what excites me? When you're talking about it, I'm like, and Christine and I are doing this too. Like we're joining this as well. We're going to do this with the group. Like I am so excited to have a group of women come together in this way and really work together and work through this. I'm just loving this. I'm just loving this whole idea. It's great. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I have a group program running right now, and there's about 10 or so women in there. And when the women share their stories, gives me like the goosebumps. It's just, and everyone just kind of goes, whoa. Like there's this transformational energy that everyone carries through the whole program. So that will be here, obviously. So in the 4 weeks, we all dive in together. We're all in this together. And that quality is in itself transformational.
Aww.
Beautiful.
That's so beautiful. So we're going to get started on November 24. And hold on when we pull up the details. So it'll be for 4 weeks, November 24th. And sorry guys, that Wednesdays?
Yeah, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern.
I've been on since 9:30 this morning, so I'm ready for a meditation. And it's $199 US for the 4 weeks, and it includes all the juiciness. And these are practices that you're going to be able to take going forward. So hopefully you don't hurt yourself in the future, but if you do, you have this as this knowledge. And really just being able to work your scars, work out the emotions, work out all the things that might be keeping you stuck so that you have, I would say, more free-flowing energy and really just, more of the debris that could be in the way of really connecting to source. And intuitive skills are definitely going to be one of the benefits of this too.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have, I'll put the link for registration in the comments. I see we are live on a few different places here, so I will go to the comments of all of these places and drop the registration link. It will also be in our bio, in our link tree. If you would like to register and join us, it would be awesome. I am so super excited for this. I can't wait.
Me too.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kendra. We love your magic and your medicine, and we're really excited to have you in our community and to share these really deep, incredible wisdom or truths, with us, to be able to just help us arise a little bit more, very exciting.
It'll be awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. I can't wait.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for watching or catching the replay. And if you have any questions, reach out to one of us and we'll have the link there available for you. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.
Bye.